Hello and welcome to this Easy Runner video on how to set up discounts. The video has been created to step us as a user through how to set them up, be it a percentage or an amount discount, how to use the time zone and date range functionality, as well as putting limits to the vouchers themselves. So we'll start in the application and then we'll look at the payment section as a customer to process the code and obtain the discount. So we start with the application itself. In the settings section, we'll go down to Easy Runner Setup. By name, we go to D, and we go to Discount. You'll see in here there's various discounts already set up, ones that are used in the application as well. So the video is focusing on online discounting, but the whole section and the logic behind each step can be applied to discounting in the till as well. So let's look at creating a new discount from scratch, and we'll bring it all together. So we'll give the discount a name. Receipt text is what would appear on the receipt. Now, the mnemonic and the discount code are the two things that need to match, and they need to be between 6 and 10 characters. So they need to be identical, so I suggest copy and pasting. And they need to be between 6 and 10 characters. And I'll just use standard characters that you would expect to use. So here we've got an 8-character discount code. I've chosen a percentage at first, as you might have guessed. So the first thing I need to do is I need to change that to a percentage. And it's a bit misleading because it says amount here. But if I put 20 in here, that equates to a 20% discount. When I start making my discount, I like to update it as well. So then it appears in my list. And now I can make further updates to it. So what next? Now we look at the start date, the expiry date, the time zone, and the date ranges. The start date and the expiry date relate to when you would like the user to be able to start using the discount code. So by leaving this blank, I allow it to be used at any time, and there's no expiry as to when a cutoff is, as to when it can stop being used. The time zone relates to the time of day it can be used. So it might be a morning discount code that can only actually be used between the hours of 9 and 12. Remember, it doesn't apply to the booking, it applies to the time of day that you're actually making the booking. So we're going to put an expiry date of this of tomorrow. The time zone itself could be an off-peak, a peak, or a peak school holidays. And the time zones will be relevant to the site, but to create new ones, and a trick that you can use in the Easy Runner across any configuration is jumping from one table to another. So at the moment we're in the discount table, and if we press F6, we can jump to the time zone table and create a brand new time zone. And we input the times in here accordingly. So we've created our new time zone, and now I can apply it to the booking. For me, there's not going to be a stipulation on time zone for my particular booking. Date ranges applies to the booking itself, so not the time I'm making the booking, but essentially I can say, okay, my discount can only be applied to bookings that are made in the month of July. So just like time zones, I jumped into the relevant table, And here's one I made earlier, July. But essentially, we can create a new one as August, and we update it. And then the add button becomes active, and we can then select our time periods. So this booking, this time zone, could be applied. So only bookings made in August could use a particular code. You can actually drill it down to start and end times of the booking if you wish to. But as soon as you've updated it, it now becomes active on the drop-down list. Again, I'm not going to use this in my example, but it just shows you how it can be pulled together. So you've got the start date, the expiry date, time zones, and date ranges. The first three apply to when you can use it, and the date range applies to when the booking is. But the easiest way to learn that is to simply play around with it and test it. The next relevant section on the details tab is in relation to the remaining and total number of discounts. So as you can see here, I've set them at 100. And once I've released this discount code, it will then be live and it will track down. So this figure here of 100 will actually reduce as and when the bookings go in. And this is my limit that I've set at the start. So my remaining number of discounts and my total number of discounts can be input here. If I was to leave them blank, then there'd be no end to how many that this could use. But by putting a limit on here, when they're gone, and they can't be used again. Now we go to the other tab, a place that's often missed out. Discount site. For a single site user, we just put in the one site. Discount access, we need to add in all the levels of access. And if we forget one, the discount won't work. Related POS items. At the moment, the discount won't work because we haven't selected a POS item to attach it to, essentially. So by selecting discount all POS items, it's going to work for them all. Likewise, I could actually select my jump, and it would only apply for that booking. So now how are we looking? We've put in our description. We've put a 20% as a percentage. We've limited it to 100. We've just put a start and an end date on it. So come 25th of June, this discount won't work. We haven't put any time zone and date ranges in here, but hopefully I've explained them well enough that you can use that. And we've filled out our other tab to put our site and our access, and we've associated it to the jump 1 hour slot. So let's now see if it actually works. It needs to be put, it is case sensitive. So we've got a £25 booking here. And you can see there it's discounted it down 20%, which is what I was expecting. So the discount has worked. Let's cancel that now. Interesting that I tested out the discount, and that's what I recommend you do. So whenever you create one, do test it out on your online journey before you distribute it to your customers. Let's make some changes to this now. So we've got our test discount, and I'm going to run through another one again. We're going to create a monetary one. It defaults to amount, so I don't need to change that. I do need to put a tick in ad hoc discount. The reason I put in ad hoc discount for the monetary voucher, monetary discount, is simply that I want to make sure that this applies £10 to the whole booking and not each individual jump slot. So we add our site. All of our levels of access. And for this one, I'm just going to discount all. We'll take the code. and I'm expecting it to discount £10 off that total, which it does. And that discount, each one of those discounts now work and are active for me. As and when the booking is complete, that's when it will count down here, so you can cross-reference and check against it. And if you ever do run into trouble, just check that you've put all the relevant information in the other tab, Related POS Items tab, and do test it out. Okay, well, thanks for listening. I hope you found this video useful, and you can now confidently set up discount codes via the application and have them working once they've been applied to your website. Thanks again.